Hello and welcome to PMP Prep Exam in a nutshell. I am Muhammad Radi, Director of Project Metrics Solutions. And for those who are going to be prepared for the to sit for the PMP exam, you are going to see a equation and the questions regarding the critical path method. This is related to the project schedule management. You remember how to develop the schedule where you try to get the schedule baseline in the planning process. Um, as a project manager, you might see the simple activity, start date, finish date, and you have activity takes 5 days and activity B takes 7 days. So the total is 12 days. However, you might see shape diagram like this, start date, finish date. So you have to manage how to accomplish your project according to the start date, accomplishing all these project activity A, B, C, and D, E, F. So, or you might see a diagram looks like this. Now, what you do, I'm asking all the time my students when they see something like this, you make the square and familiarize yourself with the early start, early finish, late start, late finish. And then you have to follow the strategy where first you have to identify the critical path and non-critical path, and then you calculate the forward pass on the critical path, and then you calculate the backward pass on the critical path. Then you finish with the critical path, you go for non-critical path and calculate the forward pass, and then you calculate the backward path. Okay, so for example here, our example here show we have to identify the critical and non-critical. So you have to go write down the path first, A, B, C. This is a chance to finish your project, and another D, E, F, and another one D, E, C. So all these paths you have to accomplish your project. Which is the longest path? So you have to look at to calculate. As I said, you have A, B, C, D, E, F, or D, E, C, D, E, C. Then we calculated, we find out that D, E, F, D, E, F, the one in red, this is the longest path. So this is the critical path. So we are going to work on forward path, then backward path, for the critical, and then we cover for non-critical. Let's start to see how we're gonna do this. So why do you call it critical path? Critical path, it is the longest days on your project, whether it is you calculate your project in terms of weeks or days or month. So you can't add activity on the critical path. So you have to see, that's why they call it the critical path. It's very easy. This is the equation on top here. You have to mark your early start with 1, and then you start to calculate the early finish. According to this equation, it comes with 6. So you have here early start plus activity duration minus 1, you come up with the 6. Then you early start for the next activity. The same thing is very easy. So you go for the equation and you will come with number 7. And then you start to calculate the early finish, early start, early finish. Then you are done with the critical path forward. Now let's start to go backward. How are you going to calculate the backward? Now, early finish here, early start, early finish, it is 14 on the critical path as a rule of thumb. The critical path here, the early finish equal late finish, and early start equal late start. Early finish equal late finish, early start equal late start. So in the exam, right away, you know it is 14, then you have to put it here 14. You find it early start 10, you have to put it as a rule of thumb. Now, let's go to calculate it. So early finish here, this is equation 9, right? When you see a diagram like this, and you know it is on the critical path right away, we're saving your time. Don't waste your time. Just 9, it's going to be 9 here. 7 is going to be 7. Now, on the critical path here, as we with the calculation here, let's start. We have late finish minus duration of the activity plus 1. And for the late finish, you're going to start late finish minus 1. So let's start for this equation. You're going to apply the equation on the backward. So you will see here you have this 10, and then if you calculate the late finish, it's going to be 9. You just follow the equations and plug the numbers, and if you see any difficulty, you just click pause to see where the equation coming from. Now, we finished with the critical path here. We finished all the calculating all the late finish and the late start on the diagram. Now we are going to go to up, finishing non-critical path forward. For the basic diagram, I covered the one on top here. I covered just not let you get confused. So we are going to calculate the forward path on non-critical path, these non-critical path. All right. So we're gonna start here with 1. We are going to calculate early finish. The early finish equal early start plus the activity duration minus 1. So how are we gonna do this? This is the equation. 1 plus 2, 3 minus 1 equal 2. Early start is you are going to go the late start plus 1. This is going to be expected to be 3, and all the way up to here. But here I'd like you to stop a little bit, because this activity C, depending on the activity B and the activity 3. So according to our rule that we have to calculate early start is going to equal late start plus 1. So you calculate this plus 1, 4. But you have another activity here. So which one you are going to take? You are going to take activity B or activity 3. So the rule, any activities sharing one activity like this one, like C, activity C, depending on activity B and activity 3, you look at the early finish and see which one is bigger. So we have early finish here for activity E is 9, and the early finish of activity B 3. Then we are going to take 9 plus 1 gonna be equal 10. So the early start for the activity C, you have to calculate 9 because it is bigger than 3, and you have to come up with the 10. Then you calculate the late finish, late start, which is equal 13. Now we are going to go backward. We are going to go backward on the critical. So the equation goes that way. Late finish equal late start plus duration minus 1. You plug the numbers, you come up here with 14, and then you calculate the late start, which is equal 12, and all the way till you finish your backward on the non-critical. So in this case, we finished the calculation of your diagram. Now the question comes here. If one of the stakeholders came to you and asked you, he put a special request to put activity here or activity here on the critical path. In this case, you wouldn't be able to add activity on the critical path. So that's why they came up. So the question, if one of the stakeholders submitted a request of a change to add one of the activity between activity D and E, what's your answer going to be? Is it yes and no? Why? Now, this question will lead us to a definition called total float. The total float is amount of time that a scheduled activity may be delayed from its early start date without delaying the project finish date. So they came up with an expression called total float, which is equal late finish minus early finish, or late start minus early start. So you plug the numbers, you look at this late finish, early finish, You just look at the numbers here. It is equal 8. It's very simple, straightforward. Another expression called free float, which is the amount of time scheduled activity can be delayed without delaying the early start date of an immediately following scheduled activity. So they came up with the equation here: free float, early start of the following minus early start of the present minus duration of the present. You look at, for example, we want to see the free float of activity B. So you plug the numbers: the early start of the following, 10, and then the early start of the present, which is 3, and then the duration of the present, which is equal 1. You came up with 6. That's all. That's it. You finish your equations. You just train yourself. Keep doing it. Many Keep doing this many times. Play it again. Familiarize yourself with the equation. Familiarize yourself with the diagram. The next video, we are going to talk about earned value management. This is going to cover the cost, how to manage the cost, the budget in your project. If you like my video, please subscribe, share, and then go to my website, projectmetricsolution.com, and go to the resources, download for free. And thank you so much.